And together we are the Chatter Guys. And together we are the Chatter Guys. Come on, let's get chatting.
Hey up, Chatter Gang. Welcome to Chatter Guys Chat.
We're going to be chatting about what we've been up to this week because he's Colin.
He's Tim, and together we are the Chatter Guys. Come on, let's get chatting.
So we've got two big topics this week, haven't we, Colin?
We have two huge topics, mainly around about music.
Yes, that's right. On Monday, we went to see the not-so-new Michael Jackson film. It's been out a few weeks now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up to its fourth week, I think.
Yeah, we don't like going straight on release because we like to have cinema to ourselves, more or less, don't we?
Well, there were enough people annoying me on Monday.
It certainly was.
I didn't want to go when it was going to be a huge crowd in the cinema.
No. Can you imagine what it would have been like if it had been full?
That's a topic we could have for a whole new podcast about the etiquette of going into a cinema. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but why do people need... I can understand why people talk through the commercials, I get that. But then when the trailers start coming on, don't people realise but you actually go to picture for the whole experience? You actually want to watch the trailer. You don't want to hear about the next person's behind you or next to you or in front of you what the thoughts are on life. Just watch the trailer. And then the other thing is you get the annoyance of people eating. That annoys me.
Oh, do you know, there was this guy, he was sitting next to me, he must have been a good 6 to 10 seats away, and it was just like a combine harvester. I don't know how anyone can be so noisy at eating.
Were it the same person that come in late?
Yes, and what he also did, playing on his phone. Why would you pay good money to go and see a film?
I knew it were annoying you, and it were annoying. That's because I knew it were annoying you. It were annoying me. But I thought I'm not going to let this spoil the film.
No.
I twisted my sen round slightly so that it went in my tunnel of vision. Because otherwise I'd have said something. Because it would just. This is the thing. You pay good money to go to pictures. We actually got a deal at our local pictures. It were inside of the call it at Showcase Cinema, and if you go on Monday nights, you get half-price discount. So the tickets were £10, and that was to go to that big IMAX screen.
Yes, massive, wasn't it?
A massive screen, wasn't it?
And the cinema was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just other people. Just so inconsiderate.
The seats were very comfortable. But the movie itself, Tim, what did you think to it?
Well, let me just say one thing about the seats. Every time that we've been to the cinema, at least you've fallen asleep, if not both of us have fallen asleep. They are so comfortable.
They are so comfortable.
However, on this occasion, we both stayed awake all the way through. And that's not just down to people irritating us and keeping us awake. I really enjoyed the film. What did you think?
I thought it were a cracking film. Now, my only concern of going to see the film was how much that I would have known and little I were going to learn from the film. But it was still very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
If we talk first of all about the actors and actresses, were absolutely amazing.
I think really good. Jafar Jackson played the lead, and I liked it because he didn't try to impersonate Michael Jackson. He just kind of had his essence.
Yeah, he kind of was just the spirit of Michael Jackson.
Yes,
sometimes I was looking at him and thinking, it just looks like Michael. He moves like Michael. You could tell his dancing were absolutely on par. There were a couple of times I noticed it and I thought Michael wouldn't be pleased with that, but it weren't Michael. But what it were is he were fantastic. You know what I'm thinking now? If he were to go on a world tour as Michael Jackson,
oh yeah,
there'd be people that would be in hysterics again because it felt like you were just watching Michael on big screen, I thought.
Yes, definitely.
But the other characters, his dad.
Oh, the guy that played his dad.
Fantastic part, didn't he?
What a horrible character. I hated him the minute I looked at him, and but such a good actor. Yeah.
They played him to be a horrible character. To be honest, I'm pretty certain that Michael Jackson did speak very highly of his dad. So did Janet throughout the career, and I'm pretty certain that it weren't as bad as that. I were hoping it weren't going to be as bad as that.
Well, I think that's another point that I'd like to make is it wasn't a documentary, it's a film.
Yeah.
And to make it more interesting, I think they have to make the characters more extreme, because if they did make the father more extreme than he was in real life, the Michael Jackson character was better than I think he was in life. Because he was very compliant, wasn't he?
Yep.
Nice to everyone.
Yep.
Whereas I've heard a lot of stories about how demanding he could be.
Yeah,
and
this is
difficult
true.
to work with. But that was totally left out of the film. Whether it's true or not, I don't actually know.
This is true. However, it only chronicled Michael's life up to a bad era, and I think his personality changed around about that time when he got so successful. So maybe the earlier part of his career, it was that sugar-coated, nice to everybody.
Well, I remember reading an article in the local newspaper. This is when I used to live in Todmorden. I think it was the paper was called the Halifax Courier, and the Jacksons performed at the Victoria Theatre, and apparently they wrecked the dressing room.
Oh my lord!
So
Wow, that's a bit of gossip for you.
True. I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying that's what I read at the time.
Amazing music. We was in the IMAX for cinema. I don't know whether it made the music more powerful, but the music was just so loud. At one point, it shook us both up, didn't it? How loud that music was.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really, really good. I
In a
thoroughly
nutshell,
enjoyed it.
I would definitely 100% recommend the film Michael.
Do you know what films I would compare it to?
Go on.
I'd compare it to the Queen movie
Same director,
and
same
the
producer.
Elton John film.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's because I'm more in tune to Michael Jackson's music, but I thought it was better than both those films. And I enjoyed all three of those films.
Yeah. What I would like to point out is what a lot of critics have been critical about it is it's sugar-coated a lot of stories. However, it only covers up to the bad era, and most of Michael Jackson's controversies started after the bad era. So, and they have left it open to another film.
Yeah, there was a bit at the end, didn't it? Say
Yeah.
it was to be continued or something like that.
So maybe Michael too will start to go into the nitty-gritty and start to show how, oh yes, he was the most successful man on earth, but how did he cope with that? Maybe that'll be a good insight as to what part 2 is going to be all about.
Did you spot any obvious errors in the film? I'm not talking about sugarcoating things or just changing things for the storyline.
I spotted quite a few.
Oh, go on.
The house that they moved into, in the one that they moved out of from
once they got
in
some money.
California,
Yeah.
weren't as big and huge as that.
Right.
I noticed that was an error. I noticed a couple of slip-ups in the choreography of the film. So like, it were almost like they were filming Thriller before they're filming Thriller before Billie Jean, and that weren't quite right. Some of them got in the wrong order, but you picked up on a really good point, which I'd not picked up on when we were coming out at cinema.
Yes, because Diana Ross was a very big influence, certainly in his early career.
Yeah.
And not mentioned at all. They mentioned Gladys Knight because the Jacksons supported Gladys Knight. That was their first concert for Motown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But there's no mention of Diana Ross at all, which I thought was really strange.
And no mention of Janet Jackson either.
No, she was there in the background, wasn't she? Her and LaToya.
Yeah. But never got mentioned.
And I don't think they had any speaking parts.
No, well, she didn't give her authorisation for the movie, Janet.
Right, okay.
So that kind of explained that one.
Right.
But fully recommend Michael. It were an absolute showpiece, I thought, and well worth the £10 admission.
Yeah, especially if you're a Jackson fan. I did notice one other thing.
Go on.
Colin, do you remember when we did the Meet the Chatter guys in Blackpool, and we did a quiz? I had questions about Donna Summer, and you had questions about Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, what hand did he wear that silver glove on? And I remember the answer was he always had it on his left hand.
Right, okay.
Not in that film.
Right, okay.
It switched from left to right all the way through.
Well, there you go.
Couldn't help but noticing.
There you go.
There you go. So
I
that's
recommend Michael.
Michael. That's the film. It's just called Michael, isn't it? The film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm looking forward to part 2.
So am I. So we moved on to Tuesday night.
Oh yes, Tuesday night was semi-final 1 of the Eurovision Song Contest.
I thought there was some of the songs were very weak on the Tuesday night.
Do you know that almost happens almost every year? In that one of the semi-finals, it's all the good songs are in it, and all the weak songs are in the other. It must be just how it plays out, but definitely the songs in semi-final 2 I felt were better than the ones in semi-final 1. And it's not. I don't know if there's a way around it, because there might have been better songs in the second semi-final that didn't get through, whereas weaker songs in the first semi-final got through because they want the same competition.
Right.
But yes, I agree with you there.
Okay.
Much better songs in the second half. But that happens every year. Sometimes it's the first semi-final that's better, and sometimes it's the second.
Yep. Good.
So, you had resounding success, didn't you?
I did. I predicted after what I'm not as big a Eurovision fan as what Tim is. Tim will tell you how big of a fan he is compared to me. But I'd not heard, apart from the UK's entry, which I think I might have listened to once before Eurovision started. On Tuesday night was the first time I listened to any of the songs, and I predicted that Bulgaria would completely wipe everybody off, because to me, there's the Eurovision formula, and if you were to get your sprinkle of dust and sprinkle it along with what bits and bats of what makes a great Eurovision song, to me, that stood out right from anyone else.
Well, I don't agree with you there about there being a Eurovision formula, because I think there's a lot of different songs have won. However, this was definitely a Eurovision song. I
100%.
think so. It's so. I really liked it. I didn't pick it out as a winner, but I really liked it, and I thought it deserved to do well. The thing is with Bulgaria, I might be wrong here, but I assume that they don't have the money to promote it throughout Europe like a lot of the big countries do, like say Germany and France. So they've got more of a struggle.
Apparently she's a big star in Bulgaria, that singer.
But Bulgaria, that's the population of
this is
Bulgaria
true.
compared with
but
the rest of Europe.
She's very popular in Bulgaria, apparently. She's had a couple of hits.
Well, most countries send their top performing stars. It's not like the UK where we just send somebody who nobody's ever heard of.
Apparently, I heard that it started off with everybody classing it as a novelty song, and not a lot of people took it seriously until the finals, which was quite interesting.
The semi-finals, yeah.
Semi-finals, yeah.
Yeah, it went up in the ratings when they saw a live performance in the semi-finals. Yeah, but a really good song. My personal favourite. Well, you picked that out as a potential winner, didn't you? We both had the same personal favourite, which we liked. We thought it was the best song for us, but we didn't think it would win. Was Australia, which was Delta Goodrem.
Yeah, that ended up finishing third, didn't it?
Something. It was in the top 5. I think I was going to say 4th, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was up there. It did really, really well. She did a magnificent performance, perfect performance, I would have said.
She was pitch perfect.
The staging was spot on.
Yeah.
Some of the staging for some of the songs, they just overdone it.
I liked that major key change that she did. That were amazing.
Yeah, she and you could see she was quite comfortable on that stage.
She could tell that she had presence, didn't she?
Yeah.
She looked like she was really enjoying it as well.
And she looked beautiful.
Some of them look quite nervous, but that's understandable when when you're in front of a massive crowd like that.
I think that sometimes when there's just like one person there I'm just thinking, that must be absolutely terrified, all those millions of people just watching.
What other entries did you like, Tim?
I quite like that Jala one. That didn't do very well, did it?
Which one was that one?
I think Jala, the girl that had been on Love Island.
Oh, I can't remember. No, I don't watch Love Island.
Well, no, I've never watched Love Island, but they said that's where she was from. I really enjoyed. I think it was a Norway song, and it wasn't. It was called Ya Ya Ya.
It was really good.
It performed it really, really well. Not the sort of thing that I would normally go for, but I really enjoyed his performance, and I liked the song. And it didn't do very well, did it? I thought it would have done much, much better. I picked that out as my winner.
They told him he got to do less.
Tone it down, didn't it?
Tone his dancing out about. I don't think he took much notice in the final.
No, I don't. I think, right, what are you going to do?
The other entry that was they were really patriotic and passionate was Moldova. I thought they would have done better.
They do. Every year Moldova sing a song about how good Moldova is.
Oh, right, okay.
But it was a good song.
It was a good song.
They started off semi-final one, and we were just blown away, weren't we?
Yeah.
That was one of the good songs out of semi-final one. Really, really good, and it did quite well. I think it did well with the public vote, didn't it? It shot right up the results.
I know one thing that impressed me a lot was the stage. I thought the stage were absolutely fantastic.
That is the best Eurovision stage I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of Eurovisions. It was absolutely fantastic.
It felt like there were a lot of fans in that stadium. It felt like it were in an arena setting.
Yeah, I think they said 10,000 in the arena.
Wow. They looked to be more than that.
Yes, they did. That said, I don't think the production values were there. It wasn't as slick as I've seen.
The presenters, I felt the presenters were a little bit weak.
I thought Victoria was, and I thought I've forgotten what the guy was called. He was trying to support her.
Right, okay.
He was a professional comedian. I don't know what this Victoria did.
I don't think the gel did that.
No, they didn't seem to get on. No, at all. And some of the dresses she wore were just horrible.
Yeah.
Now, normally the gowns that the presenters wear are absolutely beautiful. They get top designers in, but they were just ugly, those dresses. The guy was dressed up for comedy value.
Yeah.
I get that. But apart from those two, for example, they'd show, between the songs, they'd show a long shot of the whole arena, and you'd see the stagehands clearing the stage. Well,
that weren't looking good, and
you'd never see that on another Eurovision. So.
And the other thing that I noticed as well, the bits of cards that they're putting in between the performers, that were showing villages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would just look like it were done on. We could have done better than that.
It was, yeah, you're talking about the postcards that they play in between the songs that give them time to change the stage. They were just like overlays, weren't they?
They were really bad.
Really cheap.
They were really bad.
I think, I said to Colin, we could have edited them together for them.
Any more further thoughts on Eurovision, Tim?
What did you think of our entry?
It were unusual. It were very Marmite. It were either gonna get 0 points or it were gonna do really well. And to be honest, I thought it was a good effort what he played. I thought his stage presence were really good.
Yeah.
And after a couple of songs, I'd only heard it once before Eurovision, and Thursday night I think it were on.
Yeah.
And Saturday night, and I thought it was quite catchy. Whether or not you'll be able to remember it next week, I don't know.
I'm trying
twice, yeah. It were all right, but I kind of got the reason why it only got.
No, I did.
2 points or 1 point?
1 point. We ended at 1 point. We were last in the final. I thought it deserved much more. There were much worse songs, I thought.
There were worse songs.
I'm not saying that
there were worse songs. There were worse songs.
I'm not saying that because I'm British. I genuinely thought he deserved to do a lot better.
There were worse songs. I
did.
don't know how we're going to get over this Eurovision battle of getting no points.
I don't know what the reason is. People have different theories, but I don't know.
No.
I don't know. So, yeah. And what do you think... Oh, did you ever watch Eurovision when Terry Wogan was the presenter?
I did.
What do you think about the Terry Wogan versus Graham Norton?
I much prefer Graham Norton. I think he's a much better Eurovision personality. He's funnier than what Terry Wogan were. Terry Wogan, you just used to make badness about a lot of things, I thought. Whereas Graham Norton is very factual, but is also, in equal parts, is also very funny as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's a lot more positive about Eurovision. Terry Wogan just used to make fun of it all the time, which is why the UK used to have quite a bad reputation amongst Eurovision, because fans didn't think we took it seriously, and we didn't.
No.
Whereas Graham Norton, he does have a go. He picks out the bits that need picking out, but is not relentless. He's very positive about it as well, and he clearly likes Eurovision. And I think Terry Wogan did like Eurovision, but it was just his humour was just like poking fun at everything. So yeah, I much prefer Graham Norton. Now, we had this debate when we were watching the semi-finals. Who do you think, if Graham Norton was to give it up, who do you think should take over?
I think that Rylan would make a good choice.
Rylan hosts the semi-finals along with someone else.
Good job he did.
He knows a lot about Eurovision. He genuinely enjoys it.
I don't think he will get the job.
I don't know that he's experienced enough myself.
No.
Do you know who I think?
Go on.
Claudia Winkleman.
Claudia Winkleman would make a fantastic presenter.
I just think she might be too expensive.
Alan Carr could be quite good.
Alan Carr, yes.
I don't know whether Alan Carr is a Eurovision fanatic. If he was, I think he'd make a really good presenter.
I don't know that you need to be. I think you need to enjoy it, and once you got the job, you'd find out about the acts from that year. But yeah, I think Alan Carr will be very good. One thing that I'm very excited about with regard to Eurovision is there's going to be a spin-off with Asian countries. It's going to be held in Bangkok in November. I had a look to see whether it's going to be shown on telly here, and there's no clear indication yet, but we should be able to watch it on YouTube when it comes out.
I tell you where they will have it on, and which I think you can get on internet, is Eurovision have their own channel, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So I'm pretty certain if it's part of that organisation, which I'm sure it will be, otherwise they wouldn't have been telling us about it on Eurovision, you'll be able to watch it online.
Oh yeah, it is part of the EBC. However, did you know that channel is blocked from showing the final because BBC have the, I don't know if it's the rights or the license for it.
Right, okay.
So
but then again,
you can't watch it
if
on
BBC's not going to play it, then
yeah, that's why we think it's going to be on YouTube. So I'm really looking forward to that.
The other alternative, it's in Bangkok.
We'll just go. Just go. It'll probably be a lot shorter than the main Eurovision because so far there's only 10 countries in there, whereas we have like 25 or something like that. So, but I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be a nice lead up to Christmas in November.
Well, the only thing that I had regrets about is not putting money on Bulgaria. I should have put my money where my thoughts were.
Well, the thing is with Eurovision, you can never, ever predict what it's going to be.
No, but that's all part of betting.
Well, yeah, you're right there. So that's our chat for this week, Chatter Gang.
Join us next week for more Chatty Guys chat, and we'll see you soon.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.